Hey there! Welcome to our channel where we share inspirational stories and life lessons to help make the world a better place. So join us in watching the story of a billionaire who learns an important lesson about life from a homeless girl. The bark that shook the estate. Billionaire tech tycoon Winston Hale was known for three things: his ruthless business deals, his sprawling 60-acre mansion in the hills, and his terrifying, uncontrollable dog, Zeus, a massive Rottweiler no trainer could tame. The estate was so large it had its own zip code. A young couple once got lost there and they called the police thinking they were being stalked by a madman. It was just Winston. They never found the madman. But Winston loved his privacy. He built walls around himself. Walls he thought no one could scale until one night he heard laughter carried on the wind. Someone was on his property. It was early evening, and Winston was hosting a gala for 200 of the world's elite in his honor. There was classical music, vintage wine, and 7 courses of exquisite food. But even with the best chefs and servers, something was missing. The vibe was off. Later, he would learn it was all because of a little girl. As the sun set, the guests entered the courtyard. Some held their noses. "Such a shame. This area is becoming a dump," they said, referring to the homeless population. "Even the grounds of the Halcyon estate are being overrun." At a table, sipping champagne, Winston agreed. These people have no ambition. They just breed like vermin. His guests nodded approvingly. The first course arrived. It was caviar. As they ate, Winston said, "You know, I love animals. But those dogs and cats roaming the streets? They need to be stopped. They have no owners to take care of them." "Indeed," his wife added. "I've seen strays enter the property and they leave the grass trampled. It's unsightly." The guests clapped. "How about we do something about these strays?" Winston asked. "Perhaps put them all down." "Yes," said his wife. "But wouldn't it be kinder to trap them and then adopt them? Find them homes?" The lady next to her gasped. "That would be crazy. Those animals are wild. You can't domesticate them. You can't trust them." She turned to Winston. "Do you have any pets?" "Only a dog, a Rottweiler. My late father left him to me." Winston smiled proudly. "Name Zeus. He's big, strong, fearless." The woman shuddered. Maybe adopting stray animals is not such a good idea after all." Winston picked up his glass. "Here's to Zeus, the perfect dog." The others joined him. "To Zeus." But then a loud bark echoed across the valley. Winston winced. "Damn, he's loose again." He told the guests, "Don't worry, you won't get an eyeful of Zeus tonight. He won't bother you." In fact, he wouldn't be stopping by. Winston went to the window. Outside in the garden, Zeus was pacing, whining, scratching at the door. Winston knew that look. Every night it was the same. First, the pacing, the scratching, and then, if he didn't open the door, the barking. Tonight it was already going to be very loud. The guests would never forget it. And then he got an idea. Picking up his glass, he laughed in front of his elite guests. "I'll give $1 million to anyone who can calm my dog. Good luck leaving with your fingers attached." The room chuckled. But someone outside the mansion heard that bet. A little girl with dirt on her cheek and no shoes on her feet. Scene 2, the girl outside the gates. 8-year-old Lila, homeless, hungry, and alone, had been sleeping near the Hale estate for 2 nights. She wasn't begging, just hiding. She'd lost her parents 2 years ago. All she had now was a ragged stuffed rabbit, Mr. Floppy, and an old music box that no longer played. That night, she saw the party lights from afar, and she heard the bet. $1 million? For calming a dog? Her eyes lit up. Not because of the money, but because she loved dogs. She always had. Her dad used to say she had a heartbeat dogs could hear. So she walked to the iron gates and stood still. The guards tried to wave her off. "Go on, kid. This isn't a shelter." But Lila didn't budge. Word quickly reached Winston. Amused, he stepped out. A child wants to calm Zeus? Let her try, someone sneered. What's the worst that can happen? Winston grinned. Fine. If she can even get near him, I'll write the check. Scene 3. Face to face with Zeus. Inside the steel cage, Zeus was growling, pacing, saliva dripping. Everyone stood far back. Lila walked slowly to the cage. She didn't speak, didn't flinch. She just sat cross-legged, opened her palm, and started humming. Not a tune anyone recognized, just a low, gentle hum, like a lullaby only she and the dog could understand. Zeus froze, his ears twitched. Then, like a thundercloud passing, his body softened. He sniffed the air. Then he lay down. The billionaire dropped his glass. For 10 seconds, no one moved. Zeus rolled onto his side, eyes closed. Lila reached through the bars and touched his fur. Gasps, applause, even tears. One guest whispered, "She's not calming the dog. She's healing him." Winston walked over, stunned. "Who are you?" "Just Lila." Scene 4. The crowd reacts. Winston later revealed Zeus had been abused before Winston adopted him. He's never let anyone touch him, not even me. He looked at Lila. "What did you do?" "I didn't do anything," she said softly. "He just needed someone who wasn't scared." That night, Winston wrote the check, but when he handed it to her, she refused. "I don't want your money." The room fell silent again. She looked up at the billionaire and said, "But if you have a room, I could use a place to sleep tonight." And that's exactly what happened that night. Lila moved into the guest house, not as a guest, but as Zeus's official companion, and eventually the daughter Winston never had. Months later, Winston started a foundation in her name for therapy dogs and homeless children, and the world came to know the story of the little girl who tamed a monster, healed a heart, and never asked for anything but warmth. Sometimes the ones who seem to have the least carry the most powerful hearts. Sometimes it takes a child to remind the world what love really means. If you enjoyed this story, please like it for more inspirational content and share it with friends and family. Also, remember to subscribe to get notified of new uploads. Thank you for watching. Until next time.